DogGoneIt Explains. Hard topics simplified. No shortcuts, no gimmicks. A straight walk through ideas that confuse most people. If it matters, we break it down.
Hey there and welcome. Today we're diving into a topic you hear about all the time in the news, tariffs. Now, I know they can sound super complicated, but in this explainer, we're going to break it all down with a little help from some furry friends. So let's get right into it. So say hello to our guide. This very distinguished professor is going to walk us through a really simple story that explains exactly what tariffs are, how they work, and most importantly, why they matter to every single one of us. It all starts with a tale of two lands. All right, so our story takes place in two very different but very connected places. You've got the bustling Dogland, and then you've got the resource-rich Boneville. And honestly, their relationship is the key to understanding this whole thing. Okay, so you've got this perfect setup for trade, right? Over in Dogland, there are tons and tons of dogs, but they've got a serious shortage of their favorite thing in the world, bones. Meanwhile, over in Boneville, it's the complete opposite. They are practically swimming in high-quality, super affordable bones. You can probably see where this is headed. So, naturally, Dogland starts buying, or importing, all those bones from Boneville. I mean, you gotta keep the citizens happy, right? And that, right there, is a core idea in how the world's economy works. And if you flip it around and look at it from Boneville's side, they are exporting their extra bones. They get to sell off their surplus, make some good money, and, become a really important trading partner for Dogland. It really seems like a win-win for everybody. And there you have it. This is pretty much the ideal situation. It's a system where stuff just flows between countries without any extra fees or roadblocks. We call it free trade. The dogs in Dogland get cheap bones, Boneville makes money, everybody is happy. For a while, anyway. But, things are about to get a whole lot more complicated. A brand new element is about to enter our story, and it's one that's going to change the rules of the game completely. This is the crucial question, isn't it? What happens when a government looks at this free-flowing system and decides, you know what, this isn't really working for us anymore? What tool do they reach for to step in and shake things up? They introduce a tariff. Boom, it's really that simple. It's just an extra fee. You can think of it like a government-mandated delivery surcharge. Suddenly, every single bone coming into Dogland from Boneville is going to have this extra cost tacked onto it. And here's exactly how that plays out. Boneville isn't charging any more for their bones. Their price is exactly the same. But by the time that bone gets to a dog in Dogland, its price has been pumped up by the government's new tariff. The final cost for the consumer, the poor dog who just wants a bone to chew on, goes way up. And believe me, that price hike, that's just the tip of the iceberg. A single tariff doesn't just hit the buyer and seller, oh no. It sends ripples out across the entire economy, and it creates a whole bunch of new consequences. You see, a tariff creates some very clear winners and some very clear losers. The local bone shops in Dogland, oh, they are loving this. All of a sudden, those cheap imported bones from Boneville aren't so cheap anymore, which makes their local products look way more attractive. And of course, the Dogland government is collecting a nice chunk of cash on every single imported bone. But the losers? Well, that's the everyday dogs in Dogland who have to pay more, and all the businesses back in Boneville that see their sales just plummet. And it doesn't stop there. The consequences just keep on piling up. With less competition from those high-quality Boneville bones, maybe the local shops don't feel like they need to try as hard. Their quality might slip. So now the dogs of Dogland are stuck with fewer choices, often of lower quality, and they're paying higher prices for them. And that, as you can imagine, leads to some very, very irritated dogs. So what do you think happens when Boneville just gets fed up with all this? They might decide to fight back. They could slap their own tariffs on things they import from Dogland. Then Dogland hits back with even more tariffs, and Boneville responds again. This nasty back and forth, this cycle of retaliation, that is what we call a trade war. So you might be thinking, if tariffs can cause all this chaos, why on earth would a government ever use them? Well, as it turns out, there are a few pretty big strategic reasons they might pull this lever. Okay, so first up, just like we saw, it's about protecting your home team, shielding your own industries from cheaper stuff from other countries. Second, tariffs can be a really powerful bargaining chip in politics. A country can threaten to use them to get another country to do what it wants on a completely different issue. And third, well, it's a pretty straightforward way to bring more money into the government's pockets. Now, you might think this whole Dogland story is just, a cute little fable, but this exact thing happens in the real world constantly. Let me show you a famous example. Believe it or not, the US and Europe were locked in a trade war for nearly 20 years over bananas. Seriously. It all kicked off when Europe gave a special tariff discount to some countries, but not to others. The US said that was unfair and fired back with its own tariffs on a bunch of European goods. It turned into this huge, long conflict that affected everything from handbags to cheese, and it took almost 2 decades to sort out. 20 years. All right, so let's reel this back in. We've talked about Dogland and real-world trade wars over bananas, but what does any of this actually mean for your daily life? How does this big economic tool actually impact you? So here's what you really need to remember. Number one, tariffs almost always make the stuff you buy from other countries more expensive. We're talking about everything from your car to your clothes. Number two, they can limit your choices when you go shopping. And finally, and this is a big one, while they might be designed to protect jobs in one industry, they can often end up hurting jobs in another that depends on imported parts. It is a really complex, really powerful tool that shapes our whole world. And that's what I want to leave you with. The next time you see a headline screaming about a trade dispute, or you just notice that the price of something you always buy has suddenly jumped, ask yourself,